Very good, thank you. And John?
John Bensinger, American Lumber Company in Modesto Irrigation District.
Very good, thank you, sir. Looks like we also have Vanessa. Are you able to hear us?
Yeah, this is Vanessa Emo. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing for the Doubletree by Hilton Modesto.
Very good, thank you. And Kelly?
Good morning or good afternoon. Kelly Talent Martin here for the Vintage Fair Ball, General Manager.
Very good, appreciate that. And Kirsty? Are you able to hear us? Okay. We'll come back there if we need to. And also looks like we've got Kathy joining us today.
Hi, yes, sorry. Someone just decided to start mowing their lawn as my time comes up. Hi, I'm Kathy Martinez. I'm with Novo Technologies. We do a software technology company here in Modesto. And this is my first time. I had always wanted to attend these, but never had gotten the chance. So wanted to make this a first meeting today.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate you being here. And again, you said you're with Novo, is that right?
Yes, Novo Technologies.
Very good. Welcome in.
Thanks.
All right. And looks like we've got Andres as well joining us.
Yeah, Andres Mendez with Visit Modesto, and this is not my first meeting.
For sure. Yep. All right. And then Kristen, too, is that?
Yes, hi there. My name is Kristen Galloway. I am also with Visit Modesto, and this is my first meeting.
Good. And I'm sorry, you said Visit Modesto, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Thanks for being here. Appreciate that. Looks like we also have Nick.
Yes, Nick DeKuzlin with Stanislaus County Board of Supervisors, Supervisor Manny Graywall, and this is not my first meeting. Thank you.
For sure. You bet. Thank you. And just sort of circling back around here, looks like we still have Kirsty on as well. Are you able to hear us, ma'am? Maybe not.
I know she ran home for this meeting. Did you get Vanessa?
No worries. Yes, we did. Is there anybody that I did not call? My screen's kind of jumping around here a little bit. I apologize.
Todd Aronson, CEO, Visit Modesto.
Thank you, Todd. I appreciate that. I was trying
also
to
dishwasher. I'm also the dishwasher.
Nice,
okay.
Nice. Yeah, and obviously your first meeting, right? So, right. No, I was actually, Todd, intentionally saving you for last as our speaker today. So thank you for jumping in there.
What a guy.
Yep. You know. Looks like we also have, is it Camara? I think that's a new window that just popped in. No, that's not Camara. That's Camera. If I could read correctly, I obviously need new glasses. Excuse me. There's no last name there, so that should have been an indicator to me. Here in person in the meeting as well, we do also have Cecil Russell with us. Obviously not our first meeting today, right? And also with the chamber is Trish and Sabrina as well. So I think that rounds out our attendance for today. Unless I've missed anybody else, please feel free to chime in or speak up. But I think we are good. Ordinarily at this point in our agenda, we would go through the previous meeting minutes and that we had a kind of last minute cancellation for our meeting in September. We actually don't have minutes for that meeting. And I believe we had already approved our August 4th. So just as a way of kind of catching up on our process here, it's a little bit abnormal for us to have missed a meeting kind of mid-year here. And so we certainly don't want to catch any of our scheduled speakers, up short or unprepared, those kinds of things. And so the decision was made kind of last minute to go ahead and scrub September's meeting. So I do appreciate your patience with us and hope that didn't create any inconvenience for anybody. I apologize if it did. So Just thought I'd catch up on that. So today's presenter, we do have Todd Aronson. Honored to have you join us today, sir, as our CEO with the Modesto Convention and Visitors Bureau, and certainly Visit Modesto. And it looks like you brought a couple of your folks with you today too, which is fantastic. So what we would like to be able to do is certainly get updates from you on kind of how we're doing from a Visitors Bureau and convention standpoint, and what kinds of things are on your dashboard for the remainder of this year, and any other exciting updates that you have for us. We'd love to hear that, and we'll have some time for Q&A at the end as well.
Well, great. Thanks for the time, Bill. I definitely want to express our appreciation to Trish and her team from everybody here at Visit Modesto. They're great partners here in the community. Joining me today is Andres Mendez, our Director of Marketing. He'll be doing the meat of the presentation. We'll take you through tourism in Modesto, how we fared during the pandemic to date, and share how we actually approach our marketing campaigns to keep Modesto relevant, plus a little bit of what's coming up. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And
You have to stop sharing, Todd. Hang on a second.
Bear with us just a
Okay.
moment there, Todd. Thank you, Trish.
No. Go ahead and try. I think it's going to kick mine off and put yours on.
Perfect.
how's that?
Looks good. That's coming through.
Okay, great. So we're going to take you a little bit down the path of where we've been, where we're going. Jump in and ask questions. This can be interactive. We're going to leave time at the end. Won't be a long presentation, but we hope you get a lot out of it. So thank you very much. Modesto actually did better than just about every city in the country in many aspects, specifically tourism, throughout the pandemic. We accomplished a lot of great things. Think about it. We need to be proud of how our lodging community did. We need to be proud of how we all treated our workforce over the past 18 months. We are growing in hospitality units again in Modesto. Our positive image of Modesto is increasing quite a bit, and our community is rallied together. So in the worst year in the history of worst years, we have a lot to be proud of. The next couple slides, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through comparisons to 2019, 2020, and 2021 year to date. And I specifically put 2019 on here for a couple reasons. Number one, it was the best year ever in lodging for the city of Modesto, as far as occupancy and revenue and rate, et cetera, but also for the entire United States. So when we want to see how we stack up to the rest of the country, and if anybody has questions later on about how we're doing in the Valley, I have some of those statistics. You'll be able to see it here. What's interesting here on the occupancy trend are the margins between how the nation is doing and how Modesto is doing. So if you look at 2019, we were about 9 points ahead of where the nation finished in occupancy, and that's fairly regular on an annual basis. But then when you look at 2020, we're almost 20 points ahead, literally just shy of 50% better than the rest of the country. So we actually grew the difference between our results and the rest of the nation. And then moving forward year to date in 2021, we're still ahead of where we were in 2019 with that variance. So when you think about how Modesto stacks up nationally, we have a lot going for us when it comes to tourism. And then in average rate, what I find most significant here is the consistency in Modesto. So where the nation went from 131 to 103 and then back to 137, this back and forth pendulum in that worst year of the worst years ever. Modesto stayed consistent and is growing right now at an appropriate pace with the rest of the country. And kudos go out to our lodging partners who are really doing a good job with yield management and taking care of the customer at the same time. And then Revpar. So for those of you who are not familiar with the term Revpar, it stands for revenue per available room. And this is the measurement that all of the lodging industry is truly measured by if you're not on a balance sheet. And Revpar is how investors first get interested in the community. And what's happening here in our community is we now have investors interested in putting more lodging products into Modesto. We have one opening up next month. We have some coming online next year, construction beginning, and some that are interested in working with the city right now. But again, this Revpar chart shows the consistency and appropriate growth of Modesto as compared to the rest of the country. And to me, this all describes resiliency. I think resiliency is how we can describe ourselves. If you had to just take one word and say, what is Modesto? Well, we're resilient. Look at this statistic just here in the state of California. The travel industry contracted by 55%. Modesto's economy declined, travel economy, only 48%. And the majority of that was in transportation, services, and entertainment. You'll see here at the bottom, our occupancy tax, TOT stands for occupancy, transient occupancy tax. In 2019-20 fiscal year, it was 2.96 million. It only fell 4% in the heart of the pandemic. These are remarkable results. And if you look over here, nationally, Revpar was down over 50%. So when you compare Modesto to the rest of the country, dang, especially when it comes to travel and tourism, we truly are resilient. And thanks to, our economy out there, the agricultural economy, the manufacturing economy, our hospitality partners who did a great job taking care of customers and creating safe environments at restaurants and hotels throughout the city. And we're excited to see entertainment back. So that's really going to start to swing even better. So how do we do that? We find ourselves often looking at the image of Modesto. And when we relaunched the organization in 2019, mid-2019, that was the place that we looked at first. And I've been working very close with Andres and his marketing team to really say, okay, we need to change our digital image. Everybody lives on their mobile device or on their computer. I mean, we're on it right now. So our digital image is critically important, and we want to focus on what's good. You think about it, our role is almost a regular push me, pull you between what the news media is doing online. We don't have the budget of McClatchy to do aggressive SEO campaigns. But in the meantime, Visit Modesto has gone from page 30 when you do a search for Modesto to typically being in the top 3 to 5 results when you go to Google. So we've done incredible work in upgrading our image. So how do we do that is really the key. And what Andres is going to take you through is the Modesto Almond Blossom Cruise as an example of how we did that. And at the end of this, we'll be getting into how we're going to apply it in the future. And I don't know if everybody's participated in the Modesto Almond Blossom Cruise, but we have a page online. We have collateral to share with you here. And we're going to show you a quick little video about the Almond Blossom Cruise.
I think the audio's on mute.
You have to screen share and click that button in the moment you want to screen share it.
Is it not sharing?
Not the sound. The video is playing, no sound.
Oh. Well, I'll sing to you. It's just got a nice beat going to it. Let me turn off my...
I mean, they look like they're having fun.
Yeah, they are. You can grab a link to this. So just imagine really smooth, cool, hip jazz going down right now. Sounds great in my ear. It's not a long video, so. And Andres delightfully filled in for our models who ended up canceling that day. But that'll give you an idea of the Modesto Almond Blossom Cruise. So I'm going to let Andres take you through the next part of the presentation about how we achieved incredible results, what it meant for Modesto during a super unique time. We did not expect that when we started marketing the Almond Blossom Cruise, that it would be coming on the heels of a 2-month shelter in place in December and January. Most of you know that it's mid-February through mid-March for this. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let Andres take it, and keep in mind that we had so many phone calls we'll share with you that we're adding Zendesk to our website and our phone system. So this year we'll be able to handle all the calls. So thanks. Take it away, Andres.
Yeah, and then we'll touch on Zendesk towards the end of this as well. I think the first priority before we dive into this is explaining what a pixel is, because that was one of the tools that we really utilized to retarget our audience. A pixel is just a piece of code that lives on a website that allows us to collect data on the traffic on our website to see what actions were taken. Once we're able to see what actions were taken, that pixel also allows us to retarget that traffic. So given that, what we did first to kind of kick this all off was collaborate with Visit California on a partnership with a dedicated email newsletter that we sent out to their database of over 180 contacts.
180,000.
180,000 contacts. The plan for that was to see what topics people were interested in from that newsletter, and then again to kind of kick off the traffic on our pixel. That was the main goal of that newsletter, and you can see it right here. And Tom, I'm going to get into the information on the next slide. Really what this comes down to is marketing in a digital world, one step at a time. The 3 goals, and let me kind of bring this back a bit. The first goal was to get our pixel in there. The second was to send out the Visit California email newsletter, again, to see what cities were driving the most traffic to our website. From there, we can then kick off our entire ad campaign from there. The results from that retargeted pixel was 1.1 million impressions from December 2020 to March 2021, 40,000 link clicks, and an ad spend of $5,300. Where you can see right here, these cities right here are the top 10 cities that generated that traffic to our website, specifically for the Almond Blossom Cruise. And you can see that Modesto is only number 5 on that. And that's the only city within the county that's on that top 10 list.
Yeah, Andres, I just got a text from someone. Can you explain what a pixel is again briefly, and what retargeting specifically means when you're using that pixel?
Yeah. So again, a pixel is just a piece of code that lives on the website. What we're able to do with that code is then retarget that traffic based off the actions that were taken on that site. I'm not sure.
So I think, if you think of how your mobile device tracks you everywhere, what a pixel does is it tracks your web activity, and it gives us some identification points on the people who actually click through to our website and look at our website. So, you may go and clean Google Chrome every once in a while. It's one of the many bajillions of things that's sitting there inside of your desktop, laptop, or mobile device that tells us a little bit more about you, where you are, and some of your demographics.
Yeah, and really to summarize it, the pixel, once somebody is tagged under that pixel, we can retarget them basically forever. They're anonymously entered into a database that we're then able to retarget down the consumer funnel to a conversion. And then we're also able to get as specific as retargeting people that behave just like them on the internet. But again, without getting into too much of the nitty gritty on that, it basically just allows us to do a lot on the back end so that every ad that person is getting is specific to what they're even interested in.
And think of retargeting as an opportunity to speak to them again and again and again. That's kind of what retargeting means at a very, very baseline. Sorry, Andres.
And I covered everything on this slide and kind of ready to jump into the next one. So how this leads into occupancy is that year over year, we've increased in occupancy, going from 60.5% to 74.7% year over year. During that time period, again, December 2020 through March 2021, which is when we marketed the Almond Blossom Cruise, we had a total of 31,317 site visits to that specific landing page and site. Our top 10 cities changed from within the county to within the state during that time period. Again, because of what we were targeting and because of the Visit California email newsletter, that was our goal, was to move our top 10 cities from in the county to in the state, because that's what mattered most to driving tourism. We also got notoriety from Visit California in the form of blogs featured on their website and mentioned on their social media platforms, and really just promoted throughout all their digital avenues. They were just promoting the Almond Blossom Cruise and promoting Modesto during that time period because of our efforts. They weren't the only site that promoted the Almond Blossom Cruise and Modesto. We also had other organizations and influencers share blog articles regarding the Almond Blossom Cruise and promoting Modesto as a destination. And leading into basically our next topic, which is user-generated content, aka UGC.
Yeah, and I'm just going to point out a couple things on this page. So you think about it, our occupancy grew 25%, 15 points year over year. Our site visits at 31,000. The previous year, our site visits were only about 5,000. I think it was 5,200. Our top 10 cities, and Google gives us all this information, tells us what the top 10 visiting cities to your website are. It was literally the 9 counties in Stanislaus, or the 9 cities in Stanislaus County plus Stockton the year before. And now, as you saw in that previous slide, it's all over the state of California. We got calls from Roden Ranch that they were having people visiting from as far away as Toronto who had heard about it. And one of our board members was in Hawaii in May and sitting next to someone from Orange County getting some sun. And when they learned that Rodney was from Modesto, they were like, "Oh, I heard about the Almond Blossom Cruise. Should I do that?" So we speak in a lot of different voices, whether it's the newsletter with Visit California, our newsletter. We're on KQED, which is the largest national public radio audience in the country, and that's the Bay Area, on Capital Public Radio and more. So I'm going to take you on to the UGC. Sorry.
You're okay. So UGC, what is user-generated content? User-generated content is any form of content such as images, videos, text, audio that are posted onto online platforms from their users. And so, as I was mentioning, the Almond Blossom Cruise created a crazy amount of UGC because our Instagram, our Facebook, our TikTok, we're just being blown up on a daily basis, again, in line with the phone calls coming in. And the most exciting part of this was the narrative around Modesto was changing. This is what I was really excited about. Everybody was excited about Modesto, saying it was a beautiful city, that the almond blossoms were amazing, and the cruise was an awesome experience. But again, that narrative around Modesto was molding into a more positive image, which again was huge for us, a huge win for us. What Todd is showing now is the dialogue that was happening on our social platforms, not only on the posts themselves, but in the comment section. Again, none of these people have to say positive things about Modesto, but everyone was excited. People were direct messaging us and saying how they had an amazing time on the Almond Blossom Cruise and thought Modesto was a great city. Again, this is really what was a win for us, was seeing that narrative change, seeing people be excited to visit Modesto, and kind of, again, push back against some of really the narrative that's pushed out sometimes through digital outlets. Well, we were really excited to see that change and become more of a positive message around Modesto. And that's really what you can see from our user-generated content here.
So even though it was the worst of times for the entire nation and the world, when it comes to lodging and hospitality and how we approached it and how we marketed to the greater traveling community, because this concept of revenge travel, it was this, people were driving to go somewhere. For us, it became our best at times, not only because we did well as a community, but we learned a ton. So, you can take us through the digital footprint if you want.
Yeah. So really, these numbers are being pulled from our Google Analytics, which is really just summarizing the traffic on our website. You can see here, our total page views for the year 2020 were 55,280 page views. We almost tripled that number of page views year to date for this year at 159,798 page views. The average time on site during 2020 was 1 minute and 23 seconds, and that now has grown to 1 minute and 59 seconds year to date thus far. And so for the fiscal year 2020 through 2021, really taking us from June 2020 to July 2021, we've generated a total of 2.5 million impressions through our social media paid advertisements, with a total of just under 67,000 link clicks, and the ad spend being 14,503, bringing us to an average cost per click at around 22 cents per link click to get somebody to click through to our site.
When you think about that, this isn't just the number of people that look at our Instagram. This is the number of people that looked at our ad and took an action on. So we spent $14,000 and change and got almost 67,000 individual clicks into our website or to our partner websites. Using all that intelligence that we generated, whether it be through looking at the UGC, using the Google Analytics, the results from Visit California, and more.
And I'm just going to chime in real quick on that, Todd, one more time. Again, kind of touch on the pixel again, the reason and the reason behind these strategies are to continue to grow that database that we can retarget, not only for retargeting directly to that consumer that visited our site, those almost 67,000 link clicks, but now the data that we pulled, we're able to now retarget people that behave just like those individuals and add them to our database of retargeting when we're running these advertisements. So the more that we run these ads, the more that we spend, the stronger our ads get, which continues to bring our cost per click down, again, to get people to come enjoy Modesto and convert, really.
Yeah, to show you how the world's changed. In the old days of direct mail advertising, the automobile industry knew who had what car and where they lived by a variety of insurance databases and things like that. So if 3 people on a block had an SUV, chances are that the 3 houses around them would be interested in purchasing an SUV. So they would do direct mail campaigns to that specific block, literally those 10 houses on that one block. And that's how the automobile companies and many other companies were doing quote unquote targeted direct mail. Well, now we have this digital capability at a significantly lower cost and impact on our environment. And we can pull off stuff like this to start to talk to people who are interested and people like them.
And a part of that social digital ad strategy are advertisements that promote our hotel partners. We run weekly advertisements promoting each individual hotel, driving people to that specific listing on our webpage, again, for retargeting purposes. So over the fiscal year 2020 through 2021, we generated 1.2 million impressions specifically to our hotel partners, with 17,629 link clicks to their specific listings, a total of 6,979 ad spend, with an average cost per click of 40 cents per click to get somebody to go to those hotel partner listings.
So if you remember in the slide before, we spent 22 cents a click on average of all of our advertising. Notice that the hotel clicks cost a little bit more, but they're significantly more targeted to drive a specific action. So that makes the cost of our other advertising significantly less than 22 cents a click. So all this generates an activity in and around Modesto and our hospitality industry. So thanks, Andres. What does all this mean for the future? And that's part of what we were intending to present today is where is Modesto going? So many of you are familiar with ARPA funding that passed in January. Part of the ARPA program was a specific allotment to states, counties, and cities of grant funding that would impact regenerating and growing or regrowing local economies. Part of the ARPA language specifically points out tourism and similar travel industries. So we've worked closely with the city of Modesto, submitted a program that we call Mo Impact that is designed on how we can help regenerate. The city has already pre-approved us. It still needs to go through a couple steps for some ARPA funding, both in the coming year and the following year, about $250,000 each year out of the $47 million that they're receiving. And we're going to be taking this same type of intelligence and activity into programs that we call Get Mo Cheer, which is all about the holiday season, starting when the ice rink opens all the way through mid-January. Again, promoting the Almond Blossom Cruise next February, March. We're turning the marathon weekend into all about outdoor activities and events that people can participate in, with the marathon as a center place, and we're working closely with them. We just had our first meeting yesterday to launch a food, wine, and spirits celebration in the spring around the beginning of stone fruit season. The graffiti week and furiously fast weekend, we will have more marketing efforts in. We're going to be working with the State Theater on launching an esports initiative here to create an atmosphere where Modesto and the State Theater are the center place for esports in the Central Valley. Universities are now opening up stadiums all over the country and have majors in esports. And then next year during October, we want to launch an initiative called Get Mo Pink, where we have a program throughout the city focused on driving traffic and contributions towards women's awareness and breast cancer awareness and women's programs locally. We're launching an evergreen pass. Go ahead, Andres.
Just to bounce off on the esports real quick, what's next on the marketing side? We're also diving into Hulu advertisements, Twitch advertising, and Reddit advertising, diving into the OTT world and in-stream advertising. So our marketing team here is pretty excited about jumping into that space. I just want to
I don't know what OTT is. What was that?
That OTT, which is really just in-stream advertising within platforms such as Hulu. So we're diving, as we're moving forward, we're diving into these new avenues. Again, knowing that everybody lives on the internet in some way, shape, or form, we're just trying to find those audiences on those different platforms to promote specific events.
And as you saw in the Almond Blossom Cruise video, we've really put a lot behind growing our visuals for Visit Modesto, so we can present the city and the community and the activities in a much, much better fashion for the future. So it'll be easier to make these commercials for Hulu. Andres and I were on a call with Hulu the other day. Ads start as little as $500 for literally tens of thousands of impressions for Hulu commercials. So hopefully you'll be seeing that soon. We are going to be working closer with the Farm Bureau. We have a meeting coming up, second meeting coming up next week on ag programming. We will be doing a little bit more with wayfinding programs to help visitors move throughout the city. Part of the program is very specific measurement. You've heard us, recite number after number. We will build every initiative will have its own measurement. And there will be budget management and reporting, which is required by the federal government on this. So we could take you down this rabbit hole, but these are just some of the initiatives for next year. This is on top of the 20 other things we do on a weekly, monthly, daily basis at Visit Modesto. But our focus is really on creating a positive image of Modesto as a safe, comfortable, energetic, active, opportunistic community that is halfway between here and there. We've coined the term the true heart of California. Because Modesto literally sits at the center of the state. We are working closely with national parks and Yosemite Magazine and Yosemite Publications, and we're on emails with national parks promoting Yosemite as the place to stop between San Francisco and Yosemite, or on your way in or out of Yosemite. We just had a lot of traffic on that. They mentioned us in a newsletter, actually highlighted Modesto in a newsletter recently, and they have about 100,000 followers of their newsletter program. So these are the type of activities that we're taking on to really promote Modesto, to make a difference in our economy, to keep our restaurants thriving, our hotels thriving, which in turn, in the county alone, you're talking over 6,000 employees in the hospitality industry. So the more we can grow that industry, the better. That's kind of my story, and I'm sticking to it. This is our Get Mo Cheer program that will launch in November, promoting events, entertainment, programming, and all different types of savings throughout the holiday season. And our evergreen Modesto Savings Pass will actually be all year round. Locals can use it as well as visitors, and we will change it seasonally based upon what's happening during that specific time in our marketplace. So we ask that you please spread the word about the Modesto Savings Pass. Let people know that if you go to Roberts Ferry right around the first week in November, you'll be able to see salmon spawn right off the bridge. Those are the kind of true treasures you don't get anywhere else. We are going to be doing a training with priority management, helping leaders in our community learn more about how to use Outlook. Their senior international trainer, we've contracted for a program that will be all online over 3 different sessions in November to learn how to clean up your inbox, how to turn an email into a task, and about 50 other things that you can do to become significantly more efficient with Outlook as your partner. We know that we can be better, so we knew it was a training we wanted to do internally. We're going to be giving it to our partners in lodging at no charge, but if you send me an email, Todd@Visit Modesto, I can send you more information on that. Andres will be doing a little bit more digital marketing webinar programs coming up over the next few months. We got to get the Get Mo Cheer program out and live and active before we do that, but we'll keep you updated. And please stay informed. Subscribe to our newsletter. Go to visitmodesto.com. Bottom of the page, you can sign up for the newsletter, or you can send us an email, send Andres an email, Andres@Visit Modesto, ANDRES@visitmodesto.com. Tell your friends to stay informed as well, because I've heard often that the things we're promoting about Modesto, and our mission is to promote Modesto beyond our borders, not inside of our borders. So we focus outside the city to bring other people's money in. Let locals know, hey, subscribe to the newsletter. You're going to learn a lot more than you think you may know. So we apologize for our enthusiasm, but we really dig what we do. So I'm going to open the floor to questions.
While we're taking questions, could someone on your team drop in Andre's contact info in the chat and the link to that video so they can directly go to that if they'd like to?
Sure.
Thank you. I will also point out that we've had Councilmember Ricky join us, Dejanay Shelton with our board, and Kirsty Boyette is now, I'm assuming, back in her office, and Zach Rothman with Modesto Nuts have also joined us.
And I didn't put Taco Quest in there, but we've already had a meeting with our partner with Passports. So we're going to be launching a Taco Quest initiative with a little gamification. After we launch Get Mo Cheer, we can only launch one program at a time, but that's already in the works.
Councilmember Ricky, please go ahead and share your question.
So first of all, super impressive presentation, guys. Like, it is my hope that the city of Modesto can start communicating with our community with a fraction of the skill that you guys are using right now in terms of utilizing digital platforms. And with the skill level that you guys are doing it, like, hats off, man. This is working really well, and this is what we need to be doing. You know, it's a new world. This is how you communicate, and I love seeing the results. The question, so that's not really a question, but the question I have is, what's the overall spend that you guys are doing on digital right now across all the platforms, from Facebook to YouTube, Google display, programmatic, you know, connected TV? What's the overall spend that you guys are doing right now, like on an annual basis through Visit Modesto?
I'm going to give you a close guesstimate. I see Andres clicking away. So our marketing budget runs roughly around $200,000 a year. We didn't spend close to that last year. On digital platform programming alone, it was not more than $40,000 last year.
Yeah, and that's the like holy grail of this whole thing. You can see massive results and massive impacts with just microscopic budgets. So I hope everyone's taking notes on this, because the future, this is it right here. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I'm going to let Andres chime in because he's really good with those statistics.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I was really going to add was that, I mean, really, when you look at our overall marketing budget and then the percentage that we spend on digital plus the results, you know, the more we spend, we basically just put those results on steroids. But we also, if we don't have a lot going on a certain month, we'll spend less on digital that month and carry over that spend for, say, the On Blossom Cruise or for the holidays. But really, it's been kind of a journey of justifying digital ad spend. And the more that the results kind of prove themselves, the more that we spend more in that area. But it really is, I mean, if an ad's not working, we just shut it down and then we adjust it, and then we get something that does work, and then we put all our dollars there. So, you know, we definitely see the ROI on it a lot.
Yeah, and it's a super question, Chris, in that the majority of our spend is literally going to Visit California to do those newsletters. So last year we did 3 newsletters with them. The cost each time to speak to 180,000 people worldwide is $7,500. So we spent, and then we did one more sponsorship last year. So we spent $24,000 with Visit California, that roughly 45,000 gross. This year, we're going to be doing 4 newsletters with them. The cost went up to $8,000. But the value of that giant spend with Visit California gives us all this information about where the eyes are looking and where they're coming from. So Andres can go play pixel retargeting. Hulu has OTT as well, to get into how to speak to them in their home, in their space, based on their preference. So that it's a little bit longer, deeper answer, but it's one of our favorite things. We're data geeks.
Thank you. Kelly, go ahead and ask your question.
Great presentation. Thank you for sharing all of the good information. And as somebody who's, you know, I grew up in Stockton, but I've lived out of the market for some time. It's so great. You know, I moved back 3 years ago. It's so great to see all of the good events and things that are coming out of this area. So thank you for sharing the information locally so that we can be the spokespeople for, you know, sharing with our families that maybe live outside of town, to encourage them to come this way and all the good things that they can do. I have a quick question about the local park tourism. And I apologize if you covered this earlier, but given that we know this past year, we've just seen unprecedented travel to our local state parks, I'm curious, you know, and even my company launched this Great American Road Trip initiative, right? And they asked for us they sent us all Mace Rich hats and said, hey, go out to the parks, go out wherever you're going to go on vacation, take photos, send it back to us. And I'm just curious about how many other companies probably did that as well. But my question is this, you know, given the numbers that you just shared with us and the good news about the bed rates and all of the other statistics that you shared, how much of that, or do we know how much of that is attributed to that state park travel?
Great question. Another place we're spending money right now, we just purchased a program called Zartico, and it will be effective for us to view at the end of this month. So what Zartico allows us to do, and very specific to your question, Kelly, it allows us to track the movement of mobile devices inside of our community to find out, number one, our people, we use Yosemite as one of our targets. So we identify Yosemite as quote unquote a neighborhood inside Zartico and find out how many people are either going from our community to Yosemite or from Yosemite to our community. So y'all don't get freaked out. It doesn't know who you are. Only 5% of all the activity from cell phone users who move is coming through. It's an aggregate. But we're using that, Kelly, literally in every piece of our marketing puzzle moving forward, because we want to know if somebody goes to Vintage Fair Mall, what do they do next? How many people go directly from a hotel to Vintage Fair Mall? How many people go from Yosemite to a hotel in Modesto? How many people went from the parade, the graffiti parade in downtown to North Modesto versus stayed in downtown versus went up McHenry to other restaurants, so that we know how to market and promote the community and the community assets afterwards. What's really cool with your company, Kelly, I was just at IPW, which was the largest or is the largest travel event in the United States. I was in Vegas, you're vice president of tourism. And FYI, everybody, their company has it together. They were the only company in the retail space that had a booth at an international travel conference for travel executives to purchase travel inbound to the Central Valley. So we had a great meeting with her. I know we have a meeting with you coming up in 2 weeks. But we are tracking that. If you have anything specific that you want us to track outside of Yosemite, we can add it. I believe, Andres, correct me if I'm wrong here, we can only have one asset outside the county though, right?
I have to refresh my memory on the exact number of assets, but I do know as we dive down into this article kind of, journey, we're going to merge all of our advertising efforts, plus again, the heat mapping of really Modesto and seeing where that traffic flows, and to even, again, kind of to your point, continue to validate or invalidate if that marketing effort actually did bring the revenue in or did it not? Did it just look good on paper as far as the digital advertisement, or did the dots actually move there? And then where do they go afterwards? So as we kind of dive down and go through this article, we'll learn more and more, again, being able to validate or invalidate our efforts and see, hey, maybe it was that. Maybe that effort was what drove the success of the hotels, but at least we'll know.
Yeah, and Kelly, we can do all the parks in the county. Again, for some reason, the number 1 is the only number outside the county, just because of the way their contracting works for that. And to let everybody know, we're actually going to be able to take Graffiti Summer Week 2019 and Graffiti Parade 2019 and Graffiti Parade 2021, even though they were in different months, and lay those on top of each other to see if there was difference in where people moved and where they go. And we're going to be doing the same thing for the Get Mode Cheer.
That's cool. Kelly, we'll go back to you. It looks like you have another question or a new question. And I'll just share that I see Christine Schweininger also joined us today. So thank you.
I might have hit that button on accident. Sorry, Trish, but I do have a follow-up question. So maybe subconsciously my hand did it anyways. So it's Zartico that you mentioned, and I'm so excited about that. I'm less excited personally, but I'm very excited professionally for the information. So I appreciate where you're coming from with that, Todd.
It's creepy.
It's odd, right? It's fascinating, I think, but is that also, and I'm just beginning to learn about some of the new technology out there, so forgive me if I mispronounce this, but is that in line with Placer AI? Or Placer AI? I don't know how to pronounce
Yeah, I don't know a ton about Placer, AI. I think they're using some similar foundations. I think the AI side is a little bit deeper, so it's more on the prediction than it is from a marketing perspective. I believe it's more about prediction than it is about historical trending. It's funny, at IPW, I was talking to somebody from Zartico, and this, I don't want to go political here, but it was a really funny comment. And the guy said, if you think they're putting chips in your body with a shot, you people don't know what this thing is doing and tracking you. If you don't think the NSA's aware of how to use a cell phone to track, you're crazy. So the cool thing about all the tracking that happens with these programs with cell phones, to help everybody calm down a little bit, is that it is not personal. It is literally just an IP address. So it's not identified to you as a human. It's identified to this product that is moving. I think. So they tell us.
Right. Are there any other questions?
Any other questions? Feel free to unmute.
I've got one if I can jump in.
Sure, go ahead.
Fantastic. So Todd, question for you. Again, fantastic presentation, and I really appreciate some of the impact of the specific images that you use to drive home your points and the language around your presentation. You did a great job of kind of putting Modesto in comparison to the rest of the U.S. relative to some of the hospitality pieces at the front there with some of that data. I was kind of curious to see, as we got deeper into some of the social media marketing and kind of the cost per click and the ad spend, if we have any data on where those numbers for us here in Modesto and the work that you and your team are doing as compared to some other regions or tourism blocks around the country, maybe different states or outside of this region, do they experience a similar kind of cost per click for marketing efforts, or do we have any of that data?
Great question. I'm actually going to make a note because I belong to a group of destination management organizations, and I think that would be a great key data slide. I can say that the majority of DMOs, definitely in the Central Valley, aren't using digital platforms the way we are. I'd say maybe only two. Sacramento, Stockton, definitely. I don't believe Fresno is at all. So the comparison may have to go nationally and broader to big cities. We focus probably 80% of our effort in this digital space to get the results we get.
And
so, yeah.
Real quick. So I've been in the digital advertising space since I believe about 2017, 2016. And anytime average for the whole year was around the 20 cents per click, it was a very successful year. And then obviously the home runs are the ones that are around 5 cents per click. But again, taking the full average, 22 cents, based off my experience, has usually been a strong year.
Yeah, and that 2 minutes, 1 minute and 59 seconds is very high for our industry for amount of time on a site and a page. So I know some of those metrics we look at. Our newsletter metrics are about 40% higher than the industry average. But I am going to ask about some cost per click rates. I don't believe any other cities that I've met at all are promoting the hotels the way we do, with very specific targeted hotel by hotel advertising. So that'll be interesting to find out. I won't let that secret out, but I'll ask a general question and I'll get back to you on that. So thanks. I key data.
No, thank you, Todd. And I want to be clear in my question. I'm not trying to pick it apart here. Clearly, the results are fantastic, and I absolutely agree with what you measure gets done, right? So obviously, there's been some gain and market percentage improvement, and bigger footprint and more positive image, and so many of the different points that you brought up in your presentation today. What you're doing is working. That wasn't the intention with my question here. I just
I didn't
wanted
take
to
it
look
that
and
way.
see any kind of a comparator, right, or baseline to look and see there. So that's all that was intended there.
Yeah, I don't know about any of the marketing people out there. There's always a fear when you ask a question to your peers / competitors about impact to marketing. Are you letting out a secret that they're not doing?
Right.
But I think a general question is valid. And I look forward to getting that response and sharing it back with you. Thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else, feel free to chime in.
Thanks, Kelly.
We have time to open up for announcements. Anything open?
We
almost
do,
like
and that's a good
open-
reminder. Thank you, Trish. So for those that may be joining us by way of Zoom today, we do have, as mentioned, some time that we can open it up for upcoming activities, events, announcements, those kinds of things. Obviously, we have a lot of great local organizations represented in our meeting today. And so if there are things that you'd like to get the word out about that, we've got a few minutes, we can dive in there as well.
And if you didn't get to introduce yourself, feel free to jump in and do that.
So Trish, I have an announcement. It's more of a, maybe it's sort of a half of announcement. And I apologize because now that I try to go to raise my hand, I can't find my hand button. So I'm just giving up. I'm calling it. But
No, sorry, Kelly, we have a new policy. You only get to use that twice per meeting.
Between this and FaceTiming people, I just want to make a quick announcement, which I do accidentally. But on a separate note, I just want to let you guys know that Dave & Buster's will get under construction here shortly. I know it's sort of been long awaited. We've been, we keep talking about it, or at least here internally we have. So they'll start construction here in the next couple of weeks, and we'll look to get them open late spring. So they're around April of 2022 is what we're shooting for. So
Congrats, you beat the courthouse.
Nice. Maybe just in time for spring break, Kelly.
we're very excited. So
Kirsty, go ahead. I saw you unmuted.
Hi, Kirsty Boyette here, Executive Director at the State Theater. I jumped in and then I had to take a call because we have some exciting things going on here. Sorry, the layer in my back, my dog. On the chamber board, enjoy listening to Todd's and Andre's insight because we are doing a lot of partnership with them. So we're enjoying that. Little shout out for us is on Saturday, we have a bring your dog to the State Theater event. So I'm not bringing mine because he's the one barking over there. But you can bring your dog and they'll get to walk across the stage and we'll have treats and raffles and watch the movie Secret Life of Pets. So I encourage you to come down. And then next weekend, we've got a Queen cover band coming to the State Theater. So check out our website. And we've got a lot of exciting things going on. So happy to be here. Thank you, Todd and Andres, for sharing that insightful information.
Thanks, Kirsty.
Christine Schweiniger jumped in the chat, said great presentation. Kelly had similarly commented to that. Thank you.
Very good. Any other announcements, folks? Appreciate the participation there.
Throw one out if everyone else has had their chance. We have just relaunched our Inspire Youth, Inspire Dreams registration period. We are speaking to businesses throughout our community and trying to encourage them to consider participating in our fall rollout to students. This time will be 6th graders and 8th graders. This time our intention is to try and take it countywide. And really what we're inviting you to do is allow, our goal is an MJC student with 1 or 2 high school students to come into your place of business, whatever it is, and capture a day in the life of at your workplace. There'll be some interview questions and snippets that'll be edited and brought together and then added into our platform. And the platform involves an interest inventory for those students to walk through. And then it'll guide them into sectors of business and industry across all 15 of those, to kind of show them what it would be like to have the really cool career opportunities here in our community to come back to after they've gone on, whether it's to university, trade, tech, training schools. So we're trying to speak to all students, and we're really looking to get a new round of businesses to participate. The first rollout was so well received. We're super excited about it. So we're just looking for more participants to add more content in before we roll it back out to students. So that's my big encouragement. There's probably 50 others, but that's the one I'm going to go with today.
Can I add in, sorry, I forgot to announce, we have No Time to Die opening on Friday, which is a big deal for us to get such a huge movie showing this weekend. So very excited to have the James Bond movie at the State Theater.
That's great.
That is cool. Kelly, yes, it's on our website now, and yeah, I'll have that sent over to you. The registration information and the collateral.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very good. Are there any other chat
Back to you, sir.
things?
No,
Okay.
we're clear. I'm monitoring them here on my side.
Okay. Fantastic. Appreciate that. Alrighty, folks. Well, I think this will kind of wrap for this month, this meeting. As a reminder, coming up, our next meeting, we're going to have a presentation from Dave White with Opportunity Stanislaus and kind of a 5-year strategic plan for economic development. Obviously, that's going to be square into our mission here with this committee. And also presentation in that same meeting from Joe Duran, president of Stanislaus Equity Partners, and just looking at Community Development Corporation there. So that'll be coming up on the 3rd of November. If you want to mark your calendars for that, obviously we will get out meeting reminders subsequently for that. Looking forward to the presentation for both of those gentlemen and community leaders that we have here. So without further ado, I will go ahead and wrap our time today. We're officially at 12:39. And Todd, I want to thank you and your team again for such a great presentation and wonderful information and insight today. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys spending your time with us today. Thank you. And know that this is always on the first Wednesday of every month. So come back anytime.
Fantastic. Thanks, folks. Have a great afternoon.
Take care.